And welcome to Switch It Up. I'm Sheila, and that's Todd.
Really?
And today we're just totally switching this up.
We definitely are switching it up today. It's Easter! It's Easter!
Yes. So, total different video. If you are coming to our channel because you're like, hey, these people normally go out and they do an adventure across the United States and Sheila picks on Todd and Todd screams like a girl, that's not happening today.
No, we didn't talk about that stuff at the this video. Yes, this is what you do.
I usually pick on Todd, but today we thought, here's the thing, is a majority of you people have hung out with us for a whole year on our journeys, and we've built some relationship with you, and we feel like you can trust us, and we just are wanting to share a little bit of our heart today, just who we are. It's part of our heart. And so we're not going out on an adventure, except for we are going to go hang out with family because we're in Kansas City and we're here to celebrate Easter.
And it's going to be a great time. The weather's a little cruddy, but...
Stinking wind.
Yes. So I was sitting around, I was like, well, what can we do? What kind of video could we share with you today? And I found something that we did in 2018 that is an amazing video. At the end of this, we want to share this with you because I think of a lot of Easter as like rose-colored glasses. Right?
Well, yes, we put our children in these beautiful little dresses and little bow ties for the dudes, and everybody just looks so picture perfect. You got your Easter basket, and everybody's smiling, and you feel like everybody's got this picture perfect life. And interestingly enough, when you just said, you know, hey, we did this thing in 2018.
Yeah. In
2019, our worlds fell apart. Like, crap just got real for us in 2019. So just a year after, hey, this was a neat thing we did, in 2019 you lost your mom, I lost my dad,
right.
And I became very angry at God with that whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, it went from great little picnic baskets and hanging out and this perception of what Easter is to a very real and authentic thing. And I think a lot of people, including us, when you come to Easter, we're drugged to church for Easter because we're going to go watch the grandkids or the kids do the Easter egg experience. And then the church has this thing, and just like Christmas and Easter, you go to church. Well, you're drugged into the church, and then you're listening to a message about all this stuff, and quite honestly, you're just sitting there ticked off.
Yeah, and there's many times that we've both been very angry at God, and you feel you like this is supposed to be the time of spring and new hope,
right.
And that's not everybody's reality. There's a lot of yuck in our life, and we can talk about church and you can talk about religion, but that's not what it's about, right?
It's about relationship.
It's about a relationship, and life is about relationship with your family and with your people and with your spouse. It's about being in community with others, right. But the most important relationship is about you and having a relationship with God and who God is. Right. And Easter is a time where you can put on the pretty Easter dress and underneath you're just covered in mud and yuck and you know.
Right, just hoping that today is kind of going to gloss things over.
Right.
And I mean, quite honestly, you're hoping almost till Monday comes, or you're waiting till the service is over that you got drugged to so you can go eat. And that's just that's a reality that I saw for Easter for a long time, unfortunately. And you mentioned losing our parents. That was tough. And so I kind of want to go back to, we want to leave you with hope, okay? And a transition piece was back in 2018. The church, I was doing some special element stuff. Sheila was doing she's the one that put on you did this amazing thing. She put on all of the stuff for thousands of people to come to church, and that was a huge
Well, I had a really amazing team.
You did.
Yes, it was all the people.
Yeah, we're talking 5,000-7,000 people would come through the doors. Well, I was part of the creative team on that time, and I had this yuck. Like, you come to church, and I didn't feel connected all the time. I didn't have this amazing joy. I was just ticked, right? I mean, that's the reality. So when a lot of times they'd come up with themes for different things when you do your events, and you'll see that kind of in our huddles. If you come to one of our huddles, there'll be a theme. They do all this stuff so we can engage. Well, the idea of this video you're getting ready to see, because we don't want to take a lot of your time today, and you can go enjoy your family and friends, and we're leaving this kind of yucky stuff on you at the moment, but there is joy in the midst of this. And I want to use my dad for an example.
Okay.
So, like when your father passed.
Does he know that?
No, he doesn't know. He's fine. 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗽's fine. When your dad passed,
yes,
you were really upset. Like,
yeah, I was super angry because it was the thing that I had prayed for. Like, Dad was in surgery and I was up like all night, like, and I had never prayed so hard for an outcome. And even when I flew out to Colorado, and I was like, okay, I know that my God has the ability that even if we turn this life support machine off, that my God has the ability to make my dad's heart beat again. And I just prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. We turned that machine off, and God still said no. He said no. And my dad was not here with me anymore. I've never prayed so hard for something in my entire life, and God didn't answer the way I wanted him to.
Right.
And so I was angry. But I also know that I serve a God that can handle my anger and my disappointment.
Yeah. And a lot of times through that comes healing as well.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, the core root of kind of like my story as well. When we lost Les, it was a sudden type scenario. My mom battled cancer for 9+ years.
Yeah. Long time.
Long time. And towards the end of 2018, that last year or so, I was going out 2 to 3 times a week, sitting with Dad as he sat there, and he, a spouse of 50 years, waited on her hands, you know, did everything he needed to as a husband. And she passed. And Dad was ticked. I'll use that word.
Yeah.
Like, he was mad. And he sacrificed a lot, and I think this story resonates with a lot of people in loss. And he was sitting there, and I'd go out to visit him, letting him sit, and he was sitting there. I was like, he goes, I don't know what to do. I said, well, right now you're ticked off at God. He goes, you're damn right I'm ticked off at him. And I was like, then this is what I believe Easter is. It's a new beginning in a way. And the only way you can do a new beginning sometimes is, I told Dad, I said, you need to go out and just yell at God. Like, you need to yell at him at the top of your lungs. And this kind of goes back to, like, you were mad.
And I did that. I went out to the cemetery and I yelled. And cried and screamed.
Yep. And this is permission. You can call him every name in the book that wants to come out of your mouth. You scream, you yell, you cuss him. You do whatever you want to do. Because you know what? He's there. He's right there. And I think when in my darkest times, and that has been the key, is that when I get there and I don't want to talk to him, I don't want to see him, and some of you are probably in that scenario right now watching this, you don't even want to watch this video, you're like, I'm clicking off of this joker. But the fact is that go and do it. Like, get it all out. Yell, scream, cuss, but he's going to stand right there and he's going to listen, he's going to look at you with his eyes, and he's going to just basically be that father that loves you unconditionally and tells you, I'm here, I love you, it's okay. And there's like this weird healing that starts happening and that is Easter. The 3 days, right, of all of the apostles following, and then he gets thrown in the grave and people are upset and they're mad and they're scared and they don't know where to go. And then like this healing happens when he comes back. So this is the idea of the creative element that we created in 2018. The idea of what it was as a man who was completely angry at God, and he's walking out with just this sheet of paper of things that he wanted to say to God, and he goes to this whiteboard, and on this whiteboard you see nothing, and he clicks the piece of paper up there, and the premise of the whole series, I think, was, where are you, God? In the midst of all of the chaos and everything that's going on, and we can relate to that right now in the world we're in.
Absolutely.
Where are you, God? And on this piece of paper, this man that is just downtrodden and just beat up is asking that question, why am I even here today? And this was done in church. The questions were answered. The questions that came out were the questions that were in my mind at that time. Well, you know, I need another drink. That was there. Am I a fool to even believe in you? That question was there. And that was just like this outpouring. And then I think we talked to Andrea, and Andrea did a spoken word of difficulties with children. Because, you know, when you have kids, you're going to have difficulties. We've had, right? I mean, through the course of time. We've had ups and downs with our children. And she did this amazing spoken word, and then we wrote a song. And I think today might be that time of healing. I mean, you had your time of yelling and stuff, and then you have your time of talking and prayer life. What do you do for like did you start journaling afterwards?
I have always journaled.
Yeah.
So journaling is just a part of and I would say that there's just a time that when you're angry and you're mad, I just stopped. Sometimes I didn't journal for a season because I was just angry. I didn't know what to write.
Right. You didn't know what to say.
No, because you're mad. But when you think about it, sometimes we can act as grown adults, like a 2-year-old who's having a fit because they didn't get to have another piece of candy, right?
On Easter.
On Easter, because you know if you give them one more piece of candy, they're going to vomit all over that pretty little dress that you just put on them. And I think that there's times that I think God's probably looked at me and was like, oh, there she is. She's having her little temper tantrum. But he still is there, and he's still waiting for me to just be done with my fit. We had one of those kids where I just walked over here and be like, okay, you finish your fit and I'll be back. Mm-hmm. But I was never left. You know, you never leave your kids.
No, and I think the fit part you're talking about is, like you said, is us. And sometimes we could be so angry at God, it could be years. So some of you, for years, you have walked away and you've had your fit, and I don't need you in my life, and I don't need this, but you believe way back here, and then that tragic event happened, and then all of a sudden, years down the road, you're like, all right, we're going to have it out.
Well, I think it's simply because, especially like distinctly with my dad passing, I was mad at God because he didn't do what I wanted.
That's good.
Right? But most of the time, and that's what your children a lot of times are mad at you about, because they're mad because you didn't let them do what they wanted to do. When we have a God who sees a bigger picture, has a better idea, he knows what the whole story is of your life. And in that moment, I was throwing a fit because he didn't do what I wanted him to do, but there's a bigger, beautiful picture. And that is what we just have to trust him about, is that bigger, beautiful picture that he's creating with our life.
With that, great words of wisdom there. With that, I want to share with you this special element video that we produced. We hope that you really like it. We hope that you spend time with your family and you love on them. And if this video made you mad, we're sorry. We really are. It's not our intentions or our purpose, but we just really feel like we needed to share today. And enjoy our adventures, because this is, I don't know, a gift from God in general, from all of the pain and suffering and stuff, and we still go through our highs and lows, and you guys have really helped us through a lot of stuff, and we truly appreciate that. So this Easter, just think of the person writing everything down. See if there's a question on that board that you're trying to answer. Listen to the words from Andrea, and at the end there's a little bit of healing that goes on that we hope that you're left with as well. So happy Easter.
And we'll see you in a couple days. You can check out our next video.
Yeah, we're going on another adventure in the next video, so we'll see you in a couple days. But happy Easter. Hug your kiddos, hug your spouse, and just make amends and do that. Clean that heart out. Go get it.
Piercing moon, darkness in the tomb, the foolish faith of you, tragedy of a life taken too soon, a heart full of pain, hope that was slain by you. Am I searching for the hope in you, believing every word that you said was true? Am I foolish faith lay dead in the grave next to you?
All creation held its breath in the shadow of the night, like 1,000 burning stars are stolen from the sky. All creation held its breath in the shadow of the night, like 1,000 hallelujahs were silenced in the choir. Well, the song starts to fade.
Jesus, where are you? If you really exist, then why do my unanswered prayers persist? Is this some kind of test? Because my kids are depressed, my job has me stressed, and I am pressed between a rock and a hard place. This life I no longer want to face. I would rather escape the pangs of death by exhaling one final breath. At the end of my rope, barely able to cope, arose a glimmer of hope as streams of light begin to filter through, and I realize the foolishness of faith is true. The reality is, you've been here all along, facing 3 unbearable days, you still remain strong, putting your life on the line so love could be mine from day 3 until the end of time. My crosses may feel like losses, but you set the stage, a sacrifice for a priceless wage. After every cross, there's a life to be raised. Your last breath conquered my eternal death. Victory achieved as salvation is received. The shadows of hell must flee and recede. Everything has changed. I am no longer the same. Let every listening ear proclaim, the King of Kings reigns, the Lord of Lords saves. To him we sing all honor, all glory, and all praise.
All creation stands to sing to the heartbeat of the King. As hell goes up in flames, I hear freedom call my name, and the world begins to change.